Hello and welcome again to IT Skills 360. I'm your host RJ, and today we are going to take a look at FreeCodeCamp.org. I did mention this about how to learn, what to learn. There was an episode on YouTube, as well as there is a blog post if you go to itskills360.com. So I mentioned there are two things you should just focus on. Of course, if you go around, there is I would say, an IT jungle to wade through, because there are so many different languages you will find. There are so many courses available now. There are so many resources which even I listed. But the point is, you have to start somewhere, and something that you should start which should be easy enough. However, it is also worth spending your time to learn that language. So I suggested that the internet nowadays, everybody is connected, and everybody needs a website, whether it's an electrician, it's a plumber, it's a small business, if it's a big business, everybody needs to have a presence on the web. So obviously there is a high demand to have somebody develop those websites and additional functionalities, right? You can you can talk there, you can shop there, you can read there, you can watch there. All of those things, there are different functionalities that should be coded. So there is a demand for different types of web developers, and I suggest to start with learning HTML, which is a language. It's called hypertext markup language, but you don't need to know the all the details right now. The suggested website, or instead of going through all those different resources, I suggested to go to freecodecamp.org, that and just focus on that one website where you can learn a lot of different things. So HTML is there, JavaScript is there, and many more other things are there, but let's start with these basics, and you will learn a lot. So I got a response that if somebody is totally new, I mean, it is hard to go through and grasp. It is very nicely developed. However, if somebody is just walking you through the site and explain a few things as a basics, that would help as a ramping up your learning. So I thought, let me put together a small it's a simple tutorial on Free Code Camp. So let's go to the site and we'll go through the website. So here is freecodecamp.org website, and as you can see, it's a pretty simple website. There are only three menu items: news, forum, and learn. As you can see, my mouse at the top. When by default you will be taken to the home page, which is very simple, straightforward thing. You click on learn, and that's where you will see all the different options which you can learn. So there are mainly, what they are saying is responsive web design certification, which is 300 hours. But don't be scared with those 300 hours. There are so many simple things that will go very fast, and you will be able to grasp a lot of things very quickly. And then the next thing is JavaScript algorithm and data structure certification. Again, you don't need to go through everything right away. Initial stage details would be far better to at least get yourself familiar with. So my effort in this particular tutorial would be just bring you up to date with basic HTML, HTML5, also introduce you to some CSS, and then these things are so easy and simple that you can pick it up yourself. But I just want to give you a quick head start. That's all this is a tutorial about. So having said that, let's go to basic HTML, HTML5. There is the section. When you are finished, it will show up as a check mark. So let's go to introduction to basic HTML. Now HTML, as I told you, is nothing but a hypertext markup language, and this is the easiest easiest language to learn, I would say, compared to a few others that we'll take a look at: JavaScript, even Java, C, .NET, all those things. It's a little bit different than this one. This is very, very plain and simple, and still it's applicable. It is still useful. So it gives you some background about HTML, and I'm not going to go through all these details right now. You can obviously read, but I'm going to just focus on the main part that we need to just understand and go quickly, because there are two things when you are new to this learning about computer or programming. You don't want to be scared, I would say, and you don't want to be put off like, oh, this is not for me. So I'm trying to make that thing as simple as possible so that your inspiration remains high and your motivation is always there to come back for the next lesson. All right, having said that, let's go through this. So the whole thing about HTML is nothing but it's a markup language. What is markup? Basically, there are tags. It is called, like you can see here. It says there's an angle bracket, open parenthesis kind of thing, and then it says H1, and then it closes. Now, after this, there is some title, and at the end, again after this, again there is that square angle bracket, and then there is a forward slash, and again H1. So one thing you have to keep in mind or review is this H1 is an open tag, and this H1 is called a closing tag, because that forward slash is added into this tag. So as you can see, this H1 tag, whatever is the text in between, will be showing up as a something different text versus, let's say, the next tag which says P here, and then there is some text, and then again that also will end. If I scroll here, as you can see, it ends with slash P, and there are a few other tags. So let's go through these examples. This is just an example they gave. The real lesson starts. Go to first lesson. Here you click, and there it is. So this is the main interface of FreeCodeCamp, and this is very nicely done, I would say. The left hand side, the leftmost side, it basically gives you the details about what is to be covered in this lesson, and these lessons are very small. They are as we call bite-sized lessons. In the middle column, you see there is some code already pre-populated that is given, and on the right hand side the output is there. So everything you need to do some development, some coding in this case, is all in front of you in this browser window. You don't have to go anywhere, you don't have to install anything. This is fantastic. All right, so let's continue. Now on the left hand side, what you will see, as I was explaining to you earlier, that there is a tag, and this tag is nothing but in these two open and close tag of h1, which is h is for header, and in the output window we can see it says hello here, and you can see hello. If I type something else between this, you will see that thing also appear. So it is very interactive, and don't worry, you won't break anything. Even if you type something wrong, nothing is going to happen. Your computer won't be in smoke, so don't worry. Now, before we go further, and what I'm trying to do here is that these instructions are there, but I want to give you a rather high level overview also in general. So if you see, if we type anything outside of those tags, H1 tags, you can see that text also appear. So the point is, it's not necessary that it has to be in between these tags only. The text can be anywhere. You can type anything, and it will appear on the side. But there is a slight problem. You see, I typed in two lines here, but when the output comes, it didn't recognize. It is putting everything in one single line. So there is no control to format the text that we are entering, and that's where this HTML comes into picture. These tags, and we will see there are many more such tags, they will help you control the output, the format, in the way you want to see. So in this case, for example, we wanted to make it, you can see it is a much bigger font, kind of a bold and bigger size font. So H1 is a fixed tag, and that is showing up as this text, whichever is in between. You can put anything in there. Let me remove this. So basically these tags will allow you to control the formatting. That's the point of this. So at the end of this lesson, the description, I mean, they will ask you to do some activity, some exercise, and here it says to pass the test on this challenge, change your h1 element tags to say hello world. Now all we need to do here is, by the way, make sure you don't type in these tags, the quotes. So here you will change this hello to hello world, and that's the output, as you can immediately see. And all you have to do is click on this run test, and it will say, hey, you passed. Now it's saying sign in to save your progress. If I don't sign it, then it won't save me. So you can sign it, and you can just do whatever you want. I'll go to the next challenge now, because this check mark means we passed the test. Let's go to the next one. So the next challenge is again headline with H2 element. Now last time we looked at H1, there is H2 element also. So it is pretty much on the same line. So let's look at the exercise here. H2 add an H2 tag says that cat photo app. I normally, what I do is I rather copy it down here, so that when we type, because this test check is automated, so it will make sure you have typed in exactly what it is asking you to type. So if I make a spelling mistake or up or lowercase kind of mistake, it will say, hey, you didn't do it right. So I when it is just exactly this, I rather copy it down. So let's do that, and I'll put under H2. Now as you can see, I didn't close the tag like H1, and it still appears. And as you can see, the difference in the size, right? H1 tag is much bigger compared to H2 tag. And I haven't closed this tag, still it recognized. So what happens is, you can always start with a tag. There is no enforced integrity, I would say, in this HTML that recognize, or it complains about. In other languages, when we'll see like JavaScript or Java, they're very strict languages where you have to make sure you open the clause with a proper syntax, and also it ends the as per the required syntax. Without it, it will not even proceed. Same way, there are other integration rules that will be very strictly enforced depending on which language you are looking at. For example, C, C++, things like that. Java, they are very strict languages in terms of applying the syntax. HTML, on the other hand, is kind of loose. So as we can see here, H2 did not close, it's still recognized. The difference is, let's say we did have something after this. Let's say we put some test text. What it will do is, it will continue applying this H2 tag formatting into whatever text after this cat photo app text is. It will keep applying there. So the point is, it's not everywhere we want to apply just one heading text, right? We will be rotating with different tags, and that's why we need to make sure that this is the portion where we want to apply this, and that's where it should end. So let's end our tag with this right syntax. And as you can see, this is very smart editor. So as soon as you type in this square bracket, it immediately understands that you are trying to put some kind of a tag after this. And the most common, most appropriate would be H2, because we started with H2. So it knows that you might be trying to do this, or you might be looking for this or this, A or ABBR. These are all different tags. We don't need to go into details at this point. So you can either type in still, or you can just select this, and it automatically populates this section. Now as you can see, this caught photo app is H2, and it does show up as a bigger size, at least a little bit lower than H1, but not as a regular text size, right? The rest of the text we entered, now they appear in a different size format, which are no formatting, basically the default size. So this is the difference of starting the tag and closing the tag. Let's remove this, and we'll check, run the test, and it says you are passed. So let's go to the next challenge. So this is the basic. I just wanted to give you introduction to how this thing works. There are so many different tags. All these lessons will cover those. In this, for example, it says P tag. P stands for paragraph tag. So when you want to type a longer, bigger paragraph, you have to keep on doing it. Let's say we start with a paragraph. This is a paragraph. So in the previous one, what we did was just we entered one or two text like a title, a heading, hello world, cat photo app. But here you want to keep typing a longer paragraph. In this case, you want to use this P as a tag. Now you can do it without also. I'm not saying you need to have it. or without it, and with it, it's basically it looks like it's not making much difference. Now the use of this particular tag or paragraph tag, you will see later that after certain tags we may want to apply another heading as a subheading, right? So another h2 may come up. That's when we need to have it identified as p. And later on we'll see like some paragraph we want to format, let's say in a different color or a different font or different size, all those different kind of formatting. The whole point is you can control formatting. That's the bottom line of this html, and if you can do it, the web page will look great, it will be wonderful, it will be easy to read, easy to grasp, and that's the ultimate thing. It's a user experience you need to keep in mind. All right, so I'm not going to go through these exercises. All of these are very simple, as you can see. Just one quick note here. It says, note that as a convention, all HTML tags are written in lowercase. For example, lowercase p, open close, and not capital P. Now, will it work? Of course, it will work. It is just a convention. So it is like, can you type in capitals? Yes, but wouldn't we say it is like shouting in front of somebody? That's not a good idea. That same thing applies here. So try to keep the lowercase whenever you use the tags. That is just a norm. All right. So here we are asked to say create p element below your h2 element and give it tags hello paragraph. So let's do that. I should not have put in. This is a paragraph. So I'll replace that text and say run the test. And here it is passed. We are good to go to the next. And so forth. Now you can add the whole paragraph. I'm not going to go through, as I said, all of these. You can definitely do it. Let's go back to our learning lessons. So as we can see, that in HTML and HTML5 there are 28 lessons. We did go through 2 or 3. I would say you start looking at this. These are pretty easy, well explained, so you won't have any major issues to go through these. If you do, there are forums that will help, or you can directly reach out to me, RJ at itskills360.com, and definitely, I can show you additional context of what is required, why it is required, and things like that. I would suggest you, after you are done with this, and this may be hardly a few hours at the most if you sit down and you can finish this. So after that is done, I highly suggest you go through the lesson of these CSS. This is styling. This is where even more control of the web page can be done. This is going to be fun also. You can do color, you can do fancy text and all kinds of things they are given. So that is also highly recommended. After that, I would suggest you can kind of skip these for now, not necessarily right away, but just for the time being, and then get a hint about JavaScript. So this combination would be a good idea. I mean, yes, definitely you can continue and finish all of these, but I would say the JavaScript, at least understanding of JavaScript is definitely helpful, and it will also start, actually you can start thinking in terms of real programming. This is where you will see the logics, the variables, and all those basic things about any programming language that will start appearing. So I don't want you to wait too long before you jump into this other programming, because the learning the JavaScript will also help you learn any other language. HTML is very specific, but JavaScript is kind of a programming language. So when you learn that, you will understand the basic concepts of how to control different things, how to apply logic like if else statements, how to do loops, while continue this until something finishes, how you apply some kind of logic and manipulation of values. If somebody enters the name, how do you say something in the return, all kinds of different interactive things that will come in JavaScript. So I suggest you finish the whole HTML section, whole CSS section, then jump to JavaScript, basic JavaScript section. Don't go to the higher level, which is ES6 or regular expression. These are all good ones, and we need to cover it. But at least these things, this will give you a pretty good basic idea. And then if you feel, I can also create another module or a tutorial where we will go into details of. In fact, I'm thinking about JavaScript especially. So I will have a JavaScript tutorial created separately. This we just wanted to start with on HTML. So that is, I guess, I just wanted to give you a comfort level basically to start your HTML journey. And all the best. Please feel free to reach out or comment on your experience. Thank you so much.